Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next YouTube video, and this is going to be my next Transformers Prime Beast Hunters episode review. And the episode I'm going to be reviewing today is 303, Prey, which is obviously episode 3 of season 3, which is Beast Hunters. And now, just getting straight into it, I really, again, enjoyed this episode as the third part of kind of like the opening four-parter of this season. It did the job really well in that. Obviously, we had the introduction of the beast aspect of the show now with Predaking making his entrance. Even though he wasn't named in the episode, but we still had that bit, so it's now officially kind of Beast Hunters. And then some very cool stuff with a lot of the Autobots and humans reuniting with each other. The entrance of Ultra Magnus, his debut also, and some really emotional kind of stuff with Optimus on Smokescreen as well. So there's a lot to talk about in this episode. And I'm going to start off with the Smokescreen and Optimus stuff because I've kind of been doing that at the start of these, doing that as the opening thing. And in this episode, obviously, we have Smokescreen getting the Forge of Solus Prime back as kind of Optimus requested, and he does that with ease. You know, he finds no problem. He's a good, like a lone wolf, I suppose. Smokescreen. He gets in there, realizes that he's probably still being kept on the Nemesis, the Decepticon ship, and gets it, brings it back, and he thinks that the reason Optimus told him to get it is because Optimus is going to use it to repair himself. But then Optimus reveals that the Forge doesn't have unlimited power. Its power is already beginning to kind of fail, obviously because it's done a lot of stuff. It's repaired the ground bridge, repaired the Star Saber and stuff like that. It's only got enough power left to do kind of one thing, and that is repair the Omega Lock, and which will help repair Cybertron, or repair himself. And he obviously wants the Cybertron repaired because obviously he feels guilty about what he did, having to save Earth by sacrificing the Omega Lock and the Cybertron. So he wants the Forge to be used on that. But obviously Smokescreen wants it to be used on Optimus because he's their leader, and he kind of thinks they really stand a chance at winning the war, beating Megatron if they have Optimus. And that leads to the big reveal, obviously, that Optimus is like, there will be a new Prime. And he says that it's going to be Smokescreen, and that was a really interesting way to end the episode, with Smokescreen kind of shocked to hear this, and I suppose the whole fandom was pretty shocked to hear it too, in that he's definitely being set up as this kind of Hot Rod-esque character, in that he's the least experienced of the Autobots, yet he's the one who's going to be made the next Prime. Now, I personally really like what they're doing with it because it makes sense for me, at least, because it was not RC, it wasn't Bulkhead or any of those that came back through the ground bridge to help Optimus. It was Smokescreen. He was the one who thought about it and went back, disobeyed orders, and in the end is going to be crucial in helping to end the war, we assume, because there will be a new Prime now. It's not just Optimus is going to die without there being a new Prime. The Forge has been got back and stuff like that. So Smokescreen making that decision kind of showcases how that he has potential to be a leader and a good commander, in that you get the sense that that's the sort of thing Optimus would have done. He wouldn't just have obeyed all orders without question, and he would actually like think on his own, and that's like the hallmark of a good leader, in that they can make that decision. And for Smokescreen, that actually works because he definitely has the most potential of any of the Autobots, and I suppose it's going to definitely create a kind of bit of a conflict maybe between Smokescreen and Ultra Magnus if that ever kind of comes to pass, what exactly happens in the next episode. And yeah, it's just a very interesting way to end it, because Optimus feels very strongly that it should be Smokescreen. It's not like he said Ultra Magnus if he shows up or anything like that. He sees something in Smokescreen that makes him feel that way. It's not just because Smokescreen's the only one who's there. He really feels that Smokescreen should be the one, and I like that. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what exactly happens. Like, Optimus, like we assume, will probably die in the next episode after basically granting Smokescreen the rank of Prime, maybe giving him the Matrix, which is probably still within him. So that's going to be an interesting scene next episode. Like, there's going to be some really cool stuff with Smokescreen and Optimus next episode. But moving on, I'll go to Predaking next. Obviously, he's not named in the episode, and he can't speak or anything like that, which is interesting in itself, in that we know, like, that Predaking has a robot mode. You've probably all seen the toy. It has a robot mode too, and it has a bio and stuff like that. That it's more than just this mindless beast. It's like the leader of the Predacons. So there's definitely this thing in the background that Shockwave has done something to Predaking to make it just this kind of beast that will obey, like himself, Megatron. So I kind of get the sense, especially after reading the comic series Rage of the Dinobots, that the reason Predaking is in its beast mode is because it has less control as a kind of being in the beast mode, and that, especially at the end of the episode, you got the sense that Predaking was a bit insulted by what Starscream said to it, and that something's going to happen there. Like, it's going to break free from Shockwave's control and become the Predacon beast that we like expect in the series. So there's going to be some cool stuff with Predaking as well, and I definitely liked how Predaking was used in this episode as this kind of hunter extraordinaire, but with the more animalistic side of things instead of not really thinking too much about it. The dragon mode design is really cool with the whole breathing fire thing, classic dragon, and it made for some really cool battle scenes, and that everyone was shocked to see this giant dragon breathing fire coming at them. Especially Miko made some cool lines about his head being a dragon. It's like, what's a dragon? And then boom, they get hit with fire. Which obviously leads into the whole Bulkhead, Miko, and Wheeljack meeting Predaking for the first time, and their whole plan to set off a bomb in an Energon mine to signal all the other Autobots that they're there. Which was a clever way to do it, in that, like, okay, the Wreckers are the one most likely to blow up stuff. Let's go there. And I really did like that. The way that plan linked into how they kind of temporarily got away from Predaking, because obviously Wheeljack used the bombs and then led Predaking into the mine, which it got stuck because it's a really big transformer. Drove out, set up the bombs. That was really a really nice action scene, because, you know, it showed how clever I suppose Wheeljack was, and the Wrecker thing of blowing up stuff a lot. And then, you know, going on in the background, you had the RC Jack meeting Ultra Magnus, and Ultra Magnus was a pretty interesting character. We don't really get too much on his character here because they have to do a lot of stuff in this episode. But just the fact that he's this by the books guy, he's like a equivalent kind of power level to Optimus, and that you can tell he kind of like looks kind of similar to Optimus. He's the same size. He's a powerful guy and one of the big commanders of the Autobots, but he has a very different character to Optimus in that he's very, very by the books. He has to have people call him Sir, but at the same time cares about the other Autobots as well. And that's the big difference. Like, Optimus wouldn't ever demand people to call him Sir. Like, with Wheeljack in the past, he's just asked, he said, I don't care if you respect me, just that you respect the chain of command and respect the team, don't put the team at risk. While Ultra Magnus, the first thing he goes is that, respect me, I'm Sir. And that was really cool throughout the episode, that they really kept that up, and that every time he was reunited with so many people in this episode and constantly had to go, Sir. It's an honor, Sir. And then they all respect him because they know that, kind of like Optimus, he's a really powerful warrior. And there's definitely setting up, I suppose, the first time he battles not in a ship. He was pretty impressive at the controls of his ship, but there's definitely some big setup for probably a Megatron Ultra Magnus encounter in the next episode, more than likely. Because obviously they then find Wheeljack, Bulkhead, and Miko, and there's the first reunion. Those RC Jack meet up with Miko, Wheeljack, and Bulkhead. There's the first reunion, and it was just nice to see stuff like Bulkhead picking up RC, hugging her, and then Miko hugging Jack, just to show that they've all got this big team connection. And then they focused on Ultra Magnus and the whole dogfight with Predaking, which was a really nice action scene. And this show actually does those scenes really well. They've had a few with the jackhammer in the past. They had the wheeljack on one of the Viacons last episode. This was another really impressive one, a dragon against a really powerful ship. And again, using the canyon again was really cool. And the only way they could kind of get rid of Predaking was to smash it full force against the rock as they got out of the cliff face. That was, I suppose, a clever way to get rid of Predaking, but at the same time not diminish how powerful Predaking is. That it was just didn't quite know the landscape as well, and that's what led to it happening. That was interesting. But I suppose the next thing is obviously Ratchet, Bumblebee, and Raph are in the ship, the Harbinger, and they're like looking for the other Autobots, and they're so setting up like, how are we ever going to find them? And then Bumblebee's just like, hey, there's a ship coming, and then there's the reunion between those ones. And I suppose the big one there was Ratchet and Ultra Magnus. The whole he's just like Ultra Magnus, and then Ultra Magnus is like Doctor, and everyone respects him because he's a doctor. More than likely, Ultra Magnus was patched up by Ratchet at one time or another, and has that respect for him because he's the only one he doesn't really correct for not calling him Sir, which is interesting. And then, obviously, now that most of the crew, except Smokescreen and Optimus, are together with each other, they set up the plan. You know, June and Fowler reunite with them, and they have that, I suppose, mother-son relationship coming back, and all the kids are reunited again. Then they set up the plan that, even without Optimus, they have to go after Megatron, and Ultra Magnus is going to lead them, and you always end the episode with, you know, Wheeljack doubting the fact that Ultra Magnus is in charge, and it's like, who put shoulder pads in charge? And then walks into the ship, Ultra Magnus like presses the button, panel shifts, whole rack full of weapons, and then Ultra Magnus, Wheeljack is just like, yes sir. He's like, I'll take these weapons. That was just a brilliant scene there, adding some humour into a pretty dramatic like series of episodes, just to have that kind of humorous moment. And you know, overall, I really did like the episode. I didn't have much problems with it. Maybe the dogfight was a bit long. It kind of took up a lot of the middle part of the episode, and I suppose it really helped now that in this third episode, a lot of the characters met, so there wasn't switching between like 4 or 5 different plots. There were just there was at the start like 4 or 5 different plots, and then they kind of came back together, kept kind of lowering down to until we're left with the Decepticons, Ultra Magnus's crew, and Smokescreen and Optimus. So I really like that now that the 4th episode is going to just have these 3 things that I can really heavily focus on. Yeah. And I suppose the last thing really is that they kept up the Starscream and Shockwave rivalry, in that, you know, Starscream made the insulting comment about Predaking failing, and then when Smokescreen's sneaking on board the Nemesis, he's commenting about like Shockwave, that beast, bring that beast on board and stuff like that. I like that they just subtly kept that up without it being the focus of the episode like it was last time around. But you know, overall, I think this episode just set everything up perfectly for a really dramatic 4th episode, which, you know, is going to have some very interesting moments in it. More than likely, the whole death of Optimus Prime. More than likely, a new Prime in Smokescreen. Maybe Smokescreen and Ultra Magnus having this kind of conflict over leadership. In that no one will respect maybe Smokescreen as leader because he's like the most inexperienced, when everyone thinks Ultra Magnus should be. Ultra Magnus fighting Megatron possibly, which could maybe lead to him getting killed, and that's why everyone respects Smokescreen or something like that. Then the whole Predaking thing, he may or may not be more sentient than he appears in this episode. There may be more to him than meets the eye to do a really bad Transformers pun. In that we know there's something coming with him, and the whole Forge of Solus Prime thing. How's that going to be used? Is something going to happen with Optimus and he's repaired, or is it going to be the Omega Lock? So much stuff to come in this next episode, and I think this episode just set up episode 4 perfectly. I believe episode 4 is called Rebellion, and it's going to air next week, and after that I think the show's going to take a break. So that's going to be cool. So, you know, obviously I'll do the review next week, and then I'll obviously come back with episode 5 whenever it comes out. I may have another video. I'm kind of waiting for something to arrive, and so I may have a video about that on Monday. If that doesn't arrive on Monday, I'll have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles new episode review up then. So that's just a brief update. But thank you for listening, watching this review, and bye.